Hey there, Phoenixes, and welcome back to Free Create Fridays, part 2 of this 2-part series on making this beautiful macrame necklace. As always, I am your host, Daniela Langford, founder and head catalyst, head coach, head awesome builder here at Redesign Your Life Forever. And like I said, we are going to be finishing off this tutorial, this 2-parter on this beautiful necklace. Have a look again at how gorgeous that is. And again, this is a stone that I found just out in the yard. So it doesn't have to be anything special to create something special. And that is what I absolutely love to do. Is one of my favorite things to do is take something and take nothing and turn it into something. So I invite you to come and join with me this week as we finish this off. We're gonna be just kicking right into it and going and grabbing all of our materials. I'm gonna show you that second power pose that I was talking with you about last week. I'm gonna show you that one. That's a great one. It takes a little bit of effort, but it is a great one. I'm gonna show you that next. And then we're gonna get into the materials and finish this bad boy off, as well as show you what the red one looks like now that it's finished as well. So bring it on in, let's get started. We are going to get into our stretch here. I'm going to back on up so you can see a little bit of what I'm doing. And we are going to do a little stretchy poo, as always, our up and over, our swan dive. And then we're going to get into that power pose that I told you about. And we're going to hold that for 2 minutes. And if you do it along with me, as I always encourage you to do, you will be amazed at how much more energy, how much more confidence you will feel from just holding this position for 2 minutes. That's literally, technically, all you're doing is holding a position for 2 minutes. And it's amazing the effects that you can get from it. So let's get started with our fall forward. Get on up out of your seats and out of your chairs, away from your computer. And just lean on down with me and stretch it out. Woo! Nice deep breaths here. Reach for the floor. Get those knees as straight as you can. Get that back as straight as you can. Just let it all hang out. You can go from side to side. Stretch out that side back. Awesome. Roll it on up. Arms up and back bend. Oh, very nice, very nice. All right, let's do some arm circles just to wake up these shoulders. You will thank me in a minute. Go back. I'm not gonna go too hard on these arm circles because we're about to go hard on our shoulders with this power pose. Again, forward. And a couple more back. All right. Whew. Loosen them up. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Now, power pose. This is going to be amazing. Last week, if you remember, that we did the Wonder Woman, also known as the Superman, but in our case, Wonder Woman. Very much like this. Okay. Neck long, shoulders down. Nice and relaxed, chest out, hands on the hips. Got a nice wide stance, right? Power pose, okay? So if you get tired doing this one that I'm gonna show you now, you can default to the Wonder Woman, and that will still continue to give you benefits. It doesn't, like I said last week, sometimes I go back and forth between the two depending on how much I've worked my arms out that week. So for this one, it's gonna be very simple. You're gonna do the same thing where you stand shoulder or hip width apart. And you're just gonna roll the arms up. You're just gonna do this. You don't have to squat, but I'm trying to show you my arms. So you're gonna have them like this. And this is called the victory pose for obvious reasons. So if you hold your arms up just like this, not necessarily in fists, I like to hold them up straight up like yes, victory, I made it, I did it. And if you do it with that kind of mindset, it's a lot easier to hold your arms up there. So we're gonna start the counter here and just hold this pose for as long as you can, if you can, for the 2 minutes. Making sure to take nice deep breaths. Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to breathe. It is easy to do. And also if you feel your arms going, again, you can default to Wonder Woman if you're getting really tired. Or if you want to try and keep going with us, hold your victory pose. It also helps if you smile, because also, as we know, studies show that just smiling for no reason, actually improves your mood. So if you can put power pose and smiling and good breathing techniques all in the same exercise, yeah. That's what I like to do. I like to get as much bang for my buck. I like to do as much efficiency in getting all the birds with one stone that I possibly can. And that's the way I run my programs too. Ask people who have taken them. It is a fast track course to getting your soul rejuvenated, getting that creative spark going again, finding your passions, finding your mission, and being confident enough to actually follow through and go and do it. Because that's what's going to give you that happiness and that sense of fulfillment, is actually being able and being confident and feeling like you're able to follow your dreams. And that's what I teach you here. So we're coming up on that 2-minute mark. How you holding out? It's not as easy as it looks. Ah, my shoulders are screaming, by the way. A few more seconds. All right, let them down, let them down. Shake it out. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Oof. Yes. Oof. I'm gonna bend them back a little bit here. Just holding your hands. Bring them forward. Stretch them back out. All right, my lovely phoenixes, let us go and gather up all of our materials that we are going to need to finish this beautiful necklace off, and I will see you on the other side. Here's everything you're going to need if you want to make your necklace with us today. We have our hemp cord, which I bought from Michael's. You can get it pretty much anywhere. There's a selection of different colors, which I loved. And also, I've already wrapped onto this. This is green bit right here. This is actually fishing line. Now this is a one particular, almost like fiber woven braided kind of fishing line, but you can use almost any kind. This is going to be the base for our necklace. And then we are going to use our hem cord or our embroidery thread, as before, to do the actual wrapping and knotting. So here also we have a selection of beads, our bead bag, again, scraps and things, perfect to use for this, or crystals, all kinds of things that you can use for this, whatever your heart's desire. You're also going to probably want a wooden bead, such as one of these nice bad boys right in here, to use for your clasp for the end of your necklace. And again, as always, our ruler, scissors, and tape to hold your project down to your table. So, gather all of your stuff and let's get started. Okay, first steps are going to be to measure out your fishing line. Now this is going to be as long as your necklace actually is. This is going to be the base for your necklace so that it doesn't ever really pop apart, which is why we like to use fishing line and why I found a box of my dad's woven fishing line, which is probably like, I don't know, 150 pet test, so shouldn't ever pop. To measure this, you can use an old necklace chain, or can simply just wrap this around your neck and then add some. So for mine, it's approximately 12, 24, about 30 inches. It's always better to have more than to not have enough. So I've had this already measured out. You are also going to need, from whatever measurement this is, approximately, you're going to need 6 times, that's 6 times the amount of wrapping cord, whether that be your embroidery thread here or your hem cord, you're going to want 6 times the amount of whatever this length is, that is your fishing line, and you're going to need to do that twice, 2 times over. So let's measure that out. An easy way to do this is to take your necklace cord that is out of your fishing line, find the end of whatever you have here, find the end, lift it out, right, and you match them up, and then you go down 1 length, okay, and then just wrap it over, 2, wrap it over again, 3, wrap it again, 4, 5, and 6. And if you want to add another one, add 7. There, that way you have your lengths, and it is approximate, it's not going to be exact, but you have at least your 6 times without having to measure it out on your ruler and be so exacting about it. But at the very least, you do know that this hem cord in this case is 6 times the amount of this, because you used your fishing line to actually measure it. And when you have this piece cut out, simply use it to measure your other piece. So what you're going to need are your 2 lengths of either hem cord or embroidery thread, your main core of fishing line, and then also a scrap. Now the scrap, doesn't really matter how long the scrap is, this just happens to be left over, and it's about 24 inches long, doesn't necessarily need to be. So now we're going to get this shamble and set it up. Okay, now this is where it's going to get a little wonky, but follow me on this. Grab your tape or your clamp, and you are going to get your fishing line, okay? Your 2 long pieces. Put your 2 long pieces together. Now we're just trying to find the middle. Oh, that's the short piece. Okay. So set to the side for just a moment your fishing line and your scrap piece. Okay. Now get your 2 long pieces. And we're going to find the middle. From the middle, much like the sandal project, you want to go down a ways because we are going to create the braided part that is the actual clasp. So go down here, okay? So from the center, there's the center loop right there. Go down one side or the other, it doesn't really matter which. We're going to take your scrap piece and your fishing line, put them together, okay? And you're just going to stick them all together, just in one hand. Okay? Just stick them all together. And from here, you're going to make a knot. Tight. not, you can do it again. Okay, so now you are going to have an end with all of your strings hanging out, the two long, your scrap piece, and also your fishing line. And then you're going to have a side with just the two long pieces, and then these little edges right here, okay? Now, I'm going to tape this down to the table, or clamp it down, and we're going to braid it. Also pull out your wooden bead so that you can check to make sure that your loop is not too big to fit through, or over your bead. Okay, you got your scrap piece and your fishing line here, and your two. If yours gets all knotted up like this, you can simply go back through and pull one string at a time, and it will release the other two that were in sort of mirror braid that you have going on down below. See, all three. Okay. So you want to bring this back around. Okay. Make sure it's not too small, because you can always tighten that up and make it smaller when you knot it together, but you can't really go back and make it bigger that much easier. You have to go back. So you've got your size there. Take it off the table. And tie this into a knot. And again, whoop, runaway bead. Again, you check it against your bead. Make sure it will fit through. Just barely, you don't want it to be too loose, but you also don't want it to be so tight that your bead will not fit through here. So, there we go, good check. Now I'm also going to clip these off here. Okay, like that. Now, we are ready to get started. So we're going to take this and we're going to tape it back down to the table. And let's go grab all of our beads and our center stone. We'll be right back. I like to do 10 knots in between each bead set. Now you can slide your beads up, one set of beads, and now you can take your spare in the middle, cut it out, and now continue on and do another set. You can add more or less space by adding more or less knots, whatever you want to do. This is where it gets creative. Keep on working down until you get to your center point, where you're going to want to add your pendant. Okay, now we are ready to add our pendant. We've come to the middle of our necklace here, and I've gone ahead and retaped it off a little further up. So now, what we are going to do, now you can use the loop and thread it on there and continue to macrame, or take it by the thread, the 3 threads that are left over. So we're going to work our way, put the center 3 threads with your fishing line. Okay. just going to knot around the 3 and the fishing line, okay? Now what you want to do is pull this tight. Okay. Now you can choose which side of the stone you would like to face out. One or the other. And you're going to bring your fishing line up and over, okay? And we're gonna thread our beads over front. Just like that. 1, 2, 3. And you're going to take the other 3. Them in the center with your fishing line. Okay, da 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 da. And just keep on keeping on. So continue working your way down. As you can see, we've got the 3 strings threaded through here. Pulled tight, okay? Ooh, very tight. And we have our 3 strings on the other side threaded with our fishing line. Now just keep on going until you get to your next bead set, and then you can cut your 3 strings from your pendant off of your necklace, and you will be good to go until you get to the end. So keep on knotting, keep on beading, and we'll work towards the end of the clasp. All right, now that you've got your 2 ends even, we are ready to finish this off. What I'm gonna do now is bring up all of my cords together and cut them off even so that it's easier to thread the bead onto. In fact, this bead is so big that it wants to go through the wrap, and if that happens, all you have to do is put a nice fat knot right here at the end so that it won't slide through. Now all you do is tie your knots off at the end. Now you can tie it around the bead like that if you've got one of these that has a pretty big hole, or you can tie the knot right here on the end. Like that. I'm going to tie mine around because I know I've got a thick bead. Actually, I think I'm going to do both. The last thing I like to do to make sure that none of the knots come untied, either on the end, in the center, or at the loop, is to put a little E6000, tacky glue, anything like that that's going to hold your knots in place and make sure that they don't unravel. We are gonna let this dry. And then you will have finished your awesome macrame necklace. Okay, here we are, and we have come to the end of our first two-parter having to do with macrame jewelry. I absolutely loved working on this. I really have rekindled my appreciation and love and just having fun with doing this macrame jewelry again, you know, like we used to do when we were kids, all those friendship bracelets and things. It's all the same stuff, and I really have enjoyed bringing this back, and not only the nostalgia of it, but just getting to do something creative again that's easy, that's quick, it's fun, and it made some really darn pretty jewelry. Have a look, Phoenixes. Got some beautiful amethyst pieces in here, some leftover beads that I found, and just bringing everything together. Some shells, little bead, those little bead seeds, seed beads. And you can see how I made this one a little bit longer, and you can really just, however you like to do it. There are so many variations. Stone, again, the different kinds of threads. It is absolutely just very, very creative, and you can do almost anything with them. And you know, I know a lot of people that actually sell these, and particularly because it's summer, now's the time to get into doing something like that. Especially, you know, maybe if one of your teenage kids wants to get into, you know, and start a business of their own. This is a great way to give them something to do, to get them to get out into the world and get to practicing business and sales and all kinds of things that could benefit them in their future. And not only that, but be creative at the same time, which is benefiting their soul and your soul if you're the one that's doing it. I just love spreading this to as many people as I can and getting as many people on board with practicing any of these creative arts and hobbies and crafts and DIYs, because really they are actually fulfilling, because like I talk with my clients all the time, you end up with something at the end. You end up with something that in our physical world, you actually have something physical to show for it. And that really is very, very fulfilling. So thank you, Phoenixes, for hanging out with me for this week and the end of our two-parter doing the macrame necklace here and here. And I can't wait to see some of your designs. I get to blow those out, and I can't wait to see them, post them in the group or post them on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, I can't wait to see them. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. This is Daniela of ReDesign Your Life Forever, and I will see you next time.